Can you recall maybe your biggest trade or most successful trade?
That was like about $30,000 something. Yeah.
What sort of strategies are you guys, looking at?
Like specifically when it comes to prop firms, what I would do and what Kadir recommended me also is to actually do.
What do you tend to risk on a trade?
Really depends. Like on funded accounts, it's usually 1.5 to 1%. We have like a kind of a risk management strategy also, like for each session. For example, if you trade the London session.
What would you tell either your younger self or anyone else that's maybe starting off their trading journey or even just going through a bit of a bad run at the moment, right?
Accounts, and this is actually a good blueprint for a lot of people if they want to use it. You just buy 100k accounts and.
So boys, look, thank you for coming in today, coming to see us. I know you've travelled from quite far. So if you just want to introduce yourself and obviously where you've come from, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, my name is Kadir. It's Hamza. We're the founding brothers. We started trading together. It's been almost 5 years now, 4.5 years, 4.5 years. And since day one, we basically started together. We did also a couple of other things together before as well. But yeah, we're from Vienna, originally Turkish. Born in Vienna and also went to school and everything. And yeah, now we're here, traveled here to meet you guys.
Nice.
And also some other things. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Wicked. It's a pleasure to meet you boys, and thank you for coming so far to speak with us today. We really appreciate it. So look, tell me something. Obviously, look, the Funded Brothers, right? It's quite interesting. Tell us about how that started. Tell us how you've got into both being funded together and taking this wild journey of trading together.
Yeah, like I basically started like with the prop firm in January.
Yep.
So before then I was like only trading on my personal account. Kadir was already like funded and he was already trading on prop firms.
Yep.
And he was always like telling me, bro, you have to go to prop firms. Like it's a waste of time if you are like trading on your own account and stuff. And I still had my own business on the side, and I was like not like 100% like into trading.
Yep.
I was just pretty much like trading here and there, mostly every day, but not like really active. And then he introduced me to the prop firms and stuff like that, and I said, okay, that's a no-brainer, And then I started like to just post like my trades and then also like certificates and stuff like that. Kadir also. And then we said like, let's come up with like a name and build a community together. And then we said like, okay, we are funded and we are brothers. So let's do it.
Nice,
Funded brothers,
Catchy, I like it. It's cool. That's wicked. So how do you find how have you found like trading together? You sort of doing it together. The peaks, the troughs, do you know what I mean? The good and the bad. How have you sort of found that? Would you say it's helped you because you're doing it together, or tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's funny because just yesterday we visited a friend of mine, and he used to be a trading friend of mine, but he stopped trading like 3 years ago. But I mean, he really doesn't need trading because they have a like big steakhouse and they have also like a bar or whatever, he's well off anyways, but he wanted to do something for himself, I think, back in the day. But he actually said that yesterday as well, like because he didn't know Hamza. And I introduced him to him, and then he said, guys, like, it's actually, like, this is your biggest advantage that you guys are doing this together,
Agreed, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's a blessing. And we told this to ourselves as well multiple times. For example, like, I can have a down day, and I don't feel great, and then I'll have a losing day, whatever, and I may go on tilt, but then Hamza comes in and be like, bro, like, calm down, just maybe take a break, whatever, like... Having somebody to talk to in trading is really big, and he has the same mindset as you. Like you share like the same interests and everything. You motivate yourself. You do everything together. Yeah, it's truly a blessing. That's all I can say for sure.
Yeah, also really just to add to what Kadir said, like we also started the whole trading journey, like almost 5 years ago, also together.
Yeah.
And since then, we were really like grinding really hard, especially during COVID. We were still working, had some other businesses as well on the side, but still like really into trading. We really wanted to learn this. And basically what happened is like after I think like 1.5 years in, we kind of created our own way of trading.
Right.
Like really specific way. It does have some elements of different strategies and stuff like that, but it's really like unique, I would say.
Yeah.
And because we both know what we want to see in the markets and what is like a valid setup, what's not a valid setup, we can easily say, bro, you probably revenge traded, or you shouldn't probably risk too much. Like just being like accountable to each other.
To fall back onto.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's like the missing part, I think, also in trading, because like what I'm doing on my phone, if I don't show to anyone, nobody's gonna know. You know. Yeah. But we, for example, we always did like daily and weekly recaps where we went through all of our accounts. We showed all of the trades, like kind of like a journal between us, like being accountable and stuff. So that's probably, I would say, also like one of our biggest advantages, that we have each other.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can see how that would benefit, you know, one another, and obviously through this. So, you mentioned there about your strategies, different type of strategies. Tell me a little bit more about that. What sort of strategies are you guys, you know, looking at that you're, you know, I'd say having success with?
So, I mean, to summarize, like the key elements that we're looking for. First of all, we're trading with the trend. There may be some counter trends, but you have to have like 2 to 3 time frames at least in sync. So to take a position. So ideally you're going with the trend, and have to also say we're trading pretty much 95%, 99% gold,
right.
XAU USD. And since day one, basically, we know that instrument like in and out. I know which time it moves, which time it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people now are talking about time, but I have actually recordings 2-3 years ago when I'm like talking about like 820 Comics Open and 8:30 and NYC, whatever not. So timing is really important. That's another key element. Price action is like the most important thing actually, because for us, price may come into an area of confluence, like an area of interest for us. It may be an imbalance, it may be a supply and demand zone, but if I'm not getting the confirmation, I will not execute a position.
Yeah.
So that's actually something that is very different, that what we are doing than like some other trades, because I have friends that are maybe trading successfully like Euro USD or some other pairs, and they are looking for similar things such as supply and demand or imbalances, but then I'm seeing them just executing right away or having a limit entry or whatever, you know, at the zone. But that's actually not really the right way on gold, because like gold is pretty nasty. Like it can be erratic, it can whip through zones and then still close above and all of those things. So the key point in our trading is to have our zones. It may be a supply and demand imbalance, have the right timing, and then also wait for the right candle confirmations. And we have a like really specific, I know everybody says this, but it really is like that. And people who are who maybe watched our YouTube videos and everything, we have multiple trade breakdowns all there for free, where we break like everything down, how we enter and everything, and it makes sense if you understand it. And it's actually a really unique way of trading gold, because we don't look for like a negative risk reward or scalp quick. Like we try to catch the daily expansion,
right? Yeah.
And that's about it actually.
Okay, so talk to me, to tell me a little bit more about what, you know, let's say your most successful trade, right? Can you recall maybe your biggest trade or most successful trade?
Yeah, I can go maybe. Like, for example, like as Kadir said, since we are going with the trend, and especially on gold, like gold is pretty much in a bullish trend, even though it's like for probably like the last 3 months pre-consolidating, but still like making all-time highs and stuff. But after the all-time high, like for example, like in April, it did another all-time high, and that trade, for example, was pretty easy actually. We pretty much waited for the 4-hour closure, and like UK time, the 4-hour closes at I think 2 p.m. And after that, like before that, there was a news event. I think it was CPI, and then the 4-hour closed, and with NYSE, so the New York Stock Exchange open, I just waited for 1 minute confirmations, because price already was in a 4-hour demand zone where we saw some reactions previously, And what I did is, as Kadir mentioned, we really dissect like every single candle on the 1 minute to enter a trade. And after we get like a market structure shift on the 1 minute, I just waited like for a pullback and then entered with the, like as Kadir said, with the first specific candle on the 1 minute.
Yep.
And that's really like kind of like our secret sauce that we have, like a specific candle that prints within an imbalance or like supply demand zone. What I did after that is I just pretty much targeted a previous high.
Yeah.
That was like the London high, and then also the previous day's high. And what I did was I scaled out at the previous day's high, price pulled back, added another position after I got confirmations again, but I still have the runner from the first one. So price pulled back, entered another one, and slowly I rode the whole all-time high, like for probably like 300 pips or something.
Nice.
Yeah, and like always trailing the stop loss, like in profit.
Yeah.
Like I always trade the stop in profits on like each 30-minute candle.
Yep.
And price just kept on pushing. And before the day closed, like I closed all my positions pretty much because on most of my accounts, like I can't hold overnight or whatever.
Yeah.
And on that account, I had to close like before the rollover, and that was like pretty much like probably my biggest trade of this year. Like
so what profit did you close
monetary
out
wise? That was like about $30,000 something.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Very
trade
nice.
was really nice.
Regarding your risk on that trade,
so that was a 200k account.
yeah.
And the first position was 1.5% risk.
Right.
And after that, I scaled out,
Yep.
as I said, like at the previous day's high. So I already banked like more than 4%.
Yep.
And the runner was still going. And then after the pullback, I added like another 2% risk because I already had like the profits and everything, and the runner was already going. And what I did is the position itself had 2% on risk, like the scale in, but the initial position would cover more than that. Like I trailed the stop to the stop loss of the scale-ins. So pretty much if price went down and hit the stop loss of the scale-in position, my runner would get stopped out also, and I would have like went out with a break-even trade pretty much, and also the 4% profit before that. So that's how I usually try to scale into positions. So my scale-ins don't hurt me. Like the runners most of the time cover the cost of the trade.
So what do you usually, when you are going into trades, obviously I know what you just mentioned there, but let's say normally on a day-to-day basis, what do you tend to risk on a trade?
It really depends. Like on funded accounts, it's usually 1.5 to 1%. And we have like a kind of a risk management strategy also, like for each session. For example, if you trade the London session, we will not risk more than 0.5%.
Yeah.
Because if the London session goes in the direction we want, it goes really, really far on gold, and it pays enough. And usually our trades tend to go to 1 to 3, 1 to 4 hour. So with 0.5, you can still manage to make 1%, 2% in return. And what we then do is leverage those profits in the New York session, where we can risk maybe 1% on a really good setup.
Nice strategy. Yeah.
That's how we pretty much do it, and it's only most of the time like one trade per session.
So do you have a certain amount on a daily basis that you'd look to make, and then like let's say you've made that and you're out, or would you would you sort of carry on? Just sort of trying to get your sort of mindset behind it when you're going into trades on a daily basis. So if you trade in the the London Stock Exchange, and then you're going into the US, right? If you've made enough, let's say within London, are you then still going into the US, or are you sort of stopping and thinking, right, well, do you know what, I've hit that profit target today? What's your sort of thought process behind that?
I mean, the thing is, we don't ever like when we're in positions, we never look at the P&L,
right?
Because otherwise you never can grow. You know, like you can never grow because you may be like in a 100K account, it's like 1% is 1K, but if I'm on a 300K account, it will be 3K. So if I care about the P&L, I will not be able to grow and scale up the profits and everything. But usually, let's say the example that you gave, we have London session, we had a good trade, winning trade, and we had a good extension. So it all depends what NY will do. So I don't prefer to, like, when London is just pushing and pushing and it's just trending up and it's not having a pullback with pre-NY or NY session, then I don't prefer to trade than NY session. But if I'm seeing with pre-NY that we are having a pullback already from to like a 1 hour imbalance or whatever it might be. For example, we took the previous daily high and then we're coming back to the 1 hour imbalance and we are like the timing is good. We are having NY session. Then I gladly trade that session. But if I see that it's just pushing and I have the runners anyways, I might just hold the runners because NY just maybe continues with no pullback, but I don't want to take the risk to enter another position, to expose myself to the market again, even though the market conditions are not ideal for me, you know. So it's true that once we are in profits, we try to keep them. And also, like, there are many strategies, especially like that's why I always say like the prop firms are really a blessing because you can do like many things that you can't do on a personal account. Like, for example, you have 100K account, you trade that in the London session, you got profits. Why would you risk that? Like, just rotate the accounts, maybe lock that in and trade another account, and if you have a loss, you will have that on that account, maybe 1%, whatever it might be. The next day you come out of that drawdown, you know. So it's really a blessing, like if you have multiple accounts that you can rotate the accounts and still like really like actually technically that you can even have a break-even month maybe and still come out and make payouts if you're smart with the money management, you know, and the rotation of the accounts.
That's interesting. So, I mean, what would be quite interesting to know as well, so when you've, at the moment we're talking about sort of successful trades, right? So let's talk about some of the losses that you've had. How do you come back from that? What do you think sort of helps you when, let's say you've had a bad day of trading, you're setting yourself up for the next day, is there anything you do outside of trading that helps with discipline or your just sort of mindset when you're coming into this, right? What would you say is best sort of advice that's helped you?
Like, if you as a trader know your data and you know that the strategy you're following has a proven edge in the markets over years and years, and you know your win rate, your average risk reward ratio, then there is like no point in like being concerned or about the next trade, because the outcome of the previous trade should not determine the next trade. So, because the statistics are always the same. And what we do for discipline, we do like martial arts, fitness and stuff like that also. That helps, I think, a lot. Also like to relieve some stress, etc. And if you have like your data in place, I think like you just have to really remind yourself about that data. So you are still confident in your strategy, because a lot of beginners, what do? They try a strategy, they take a few losses, and then they switch to another one, and then another one, like hop on, hop off, and that doesn't really make sense, because the strategy maybe has statistically maybe like a losing streak of 3-5 losses in a row, and if you know this with your data, you're gonna risk accordingly. For example, our strategy, like we have the data that we like most likely will not have more than 3 losses in a row. So that means for myself, okay, I can risk 1% easily to not even like come near a daily loss or max loss limit.
So regarding the sort of prop space and obviously trading, I know that you mentioned that you've dealt with quite a few prop firms. I believe you're funded with quite a few firms now as well. What's how much are you sort of funded at between us and other firms?
Yeah, right now I'm at $500,000. I lost some accounts due to shutdowns. It's more than like 400K that I lost due to shutdowns. It is what it is, part of the game. with multiple firms. At this point, I'm funded with 3.
Yep.
And yeah, that's about
See, do you know what? I just want to touch on that because you say, you know, you've lost a few accounts due to companies shutting down, I suppose, right? And you know, for me, that's quite interesting. You say that's part of the game. Like for us, we don't believe it should be part of the game, right? Because I probably feel like you've got some very positive experiences within the prop space, right? With good companies, reputable firms. Okay, and then you've got other companies that you might have tried out and you know you've lost funding to, and you know, this is what sort of frustrates me, and I think many other people that you know own prop firms is that you know you've got a select few that damage the reputation of actual prop firms when. In fact, you know, I'm sure you've got some very positive views on prop firms, like, you know, how you've started and where you're at today, you know, off the back of prop firms, right? Like you said yourself earlier on within the interview is that, you know, it's a lot easier, okay, and better, right, to be using a prop firm and then the funding than using your own funds at the beginning, right? Because, you know, you are going to incur losses, you are going to, you know, it will put you off, and, you know, some people have had some bad experiences, but you know, it's you know, it is annoying that you know you're hearing of firms that do shut down and people like yourself are having bad experiences. So I mean, tell me a little bit more about that and obviously how you felt at the time and what that done for you, because I'm sure that probably had a bit of a negative impact on your trading, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the first time, it was actually pretty hard because I'm not gonna mention the name, but. It was the first time a firm, like a really big firm, shut down. It was 2023. Everybody knows it, but yeah. And back then, Hamza was not using prop firms, so I was pretty much on my own. And I was like, maybe I should also go back to personal accounts, you know, and just not worry about these things because I also didn't get my payout. And back then, that was a lot for me, you know. So and I was actually on holiday also while that was happening, and it messed up my whole holiday as well, my whole psychology, and I knew it will mess up my trading as well a little bit, and I just took a break. Like I took a month break from trading, and then when I got back in, I did a lot of research, like, and tried to like, be as safe as possible. Let's say, you know, but funny enough, then I lost more funding as well, like from a really reputable firm as well, like. Back then they were also like one of the biggest companies, and even also Europe based. But also lost like payouts there. But I mean, you're totally right. Absolutely, it should not be part of the game. But at this point, you're feeling like as a trader, you're not really worrying about the trading anymore. You're more worried about like, will I get paid?
Yeah,
you know.
Of course.
And that's why me and Hamza, we came up with like multiple strategies, and we said like, okay, right now the space is a little bit like going fast, you know, like firms can shut down anytime or deny a payout,
are
whatever.
Quite a lot, aren't they?
Exactly.
Within the space.
So, like a really good reputable firm is like 1 month later, like changing 10 rules, and you're like, man, what's this? You know, like it was my favorite firm maybe, and then it's like I'm feeling weird, whatever. But and then we said like, okay, bro, let's do this. Let's just go for only 100k accounts, not 200k accounts, and this is actually a good blueprint for a lot of people if they want to use it. You just buy 100k accounts and buy it from multiple firms. So let's say I buy like 2 accounts from AscendX Capital, and then buy like 200k accounts from another 2 firms or whatever. And this way, let's say I have 5 different 100k accounts from 5 different firms. This way I'm like diversifying my risk. And the probability of me getting paid at the end of the month or like the 2 weeks, bi-weekly, whatever it might be, is pretty high. So even let's say like if 2 of them shut down or deny me a payout for whatever reason,
coming in, still getting paid out.
Exactly. Because in a business, what's important is always cash flow. Like some kind of cash flow has always to come in, and that's actually a pretty good blueprint.
That's good. So I mean, look, tell me, you know, any advice you've got for people within the space trading, looking to come in, right? What would you tell either your younger self or anyone else that's, you know, maybe starting off their trading journey or even, you know, just going through a bit of a bad run at the moment, right? So,
like, I would recommend a beginner to really go with a strategy that suits his lifestyle. So if it's scalping, then it's scalping. If it's swing trading, it's swing trading. And just learn from the best, because we pretty much learned through trial and error. So you can pretty much like be successful a little bit faster if you learn from other successful people. And like specifically when it comes to prop firms, what I would do and what Kadir recommended me also, but I didn't really do that because I was like really confident in my skills, is to actually do a free trial first.
Right.
So that's probably like the best recommendation you can give someone. And we have like kind of like a blueprint we really preach, and it's like do a free trial 3 times. Because that means like if you're doing a 2-step evaluation, you have the 2 phases and also the payout, because that's what counts. You know, like it doesn't really matter if you get funded but don't get a payout. You still ended up with nothing. You know? So that's probably like what I would recommend. And just stay consistent. Like it's really a tough game. It's really like an elite sport, I think, and it's not for everybody also.
Of course, yeah. Is there anything from maybe, you know, you mentioned, you know, how you got into the industry, how you started, how you got into trading. Is there anything from before that you'd take, you know, that you'd, let's say you might have done or not done, that you could sort of look back and sort of think, right, now I know, you know, I know this, you know, it might have made that a bit easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so one thing that I would really recommend to everyone is you need, like, I know it's the dream of everyone, like be a full-time trader right away, like make the money and just like, I don't know, like in Europe, let's say 5K a month, you're pretty well off, like after taxes it will be fine, like if you're not having like a crazy lifestyle or whatever. But for the beginning it's not realistic, like because if you're trading to pay bills, it's gonna be pretty tough. And I know that because like I faced that issue when the first time I got married, like it was 3 years ago, almost at this point. And like once I started to pay my own bills and everything, and like you're completely like dependent on yourself,
of course,
it changes a lot. Like because I was profitable, but then like I really have to make money now, and like you have no
more
option,
people depending on you.
And exactly. Like I don't have kids or whatever, but still it's really tough, and rather like mentally, because you're doing that pressure yourself, because the market is moving the same, market is not changing, whatever, but psychologically it's different. So that's my number one advice, even though I know it's not attractive, people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. You need a job, you need something like an income that is giving you the safety. Okay, I have my money coming in and I can pay my bills and I can concentrate on this and try to build this slowly. It's not attractive, but it's the best way in my opinion. And I have friends, like trading friends, and I told them, like, bro, just get a job and it will become easier psychologically, you know, because you will be able to hold trades. Like once you're in profits, you will not be like, oh, this is my rent money.
You're not dependent on that money as much.
Exactly. And like the best trader in my opinion is a trader who like doesn't care about money at all. Like for example Hamza, he's way better than me at holding. Like he can hold positions like I didn't see anyone, because I'm seeing it live, right? So I didn't see anyone holding positions like him.
He's got the poker face.
Exactly. Like he doesn't care. Like it's like his ice cold, just, you know. Like for example, like we're at all-time highs and he's just riding it, and I'm like, bro, like maybe you want to close some partials or whatever, and like, no bro, it's fine, I'll just check the closures of the candles and I will trail my stops. And he doesn't care, you know, like I'm telling it, and he's like, no, and then he's literally riding it, you know. And but you can only do that once you have a cushion, you know, like you made some money or you have money coming in.
There's an old saying, a desperate man is a dangerous man, right? And when you've, I say it all the time, right? The first bit of money you make is the hardest, but as soon as you've got a bit of money and you've kept it there, you haven't got the stresses as much where you're trying to risk too much. You don't, it's just that cool thing, right? It's just, you know, when people are a bit cool and everything else, things tend to, you know, happen, and it's because they're not, you know, you're not stressing around, you're not desperate for that money, you're not trying to risk something. And usually when people are in that state of mind, things go wrong, right? Understandably, people to get to a certain point have to take a calculated amount of risks, right? When you're, you know, you're trading, but I think you're right. I think it's definitely a point to take from that. It's
like what he mentioned with the with the cushion, and because he said like I'm like holding the trades or I can hold. Probably like one of the biggest reasons is
because you got $1 million in funding.
yeah, maybe also, but like the thing is, before I started with the prop firms or whatever, I already had like 1 year of expenses on the side, and probably like right now I really don't care about a single trade because I have like, I don't want to over exaggerate, but I have at least like 7 years of expenses on the side right now. 7 years.
Nice.
So and I will also become a father like in a month.
Congratulations.
So, thanks, bro.
You will get no sleep.
Firsthand. It'll be trading Asian session. Asian session is the new session.
And that's why I also have to be mentally like at a point where I say, okay, because we are full-time traders, we don't do anything else than trading, and I have to be aware of the fact, okay, I can provide for my family at least the next 5-6 years if I don't do anything from this point on. And that's when you really start to grow.
Yes,
because you don't have money problems anymore.
So talk to me about that. So you've like you said, you're full-time trading now, right? When you first started, did you have jobs at the time? If so, like what were you doing? Was it quite stressful at first? Because I mean, you seem pretty cool and confident now, right? And obviously, like you said, you've got that safety net tucked up, which is really, really nice. But I assume it wasn't like that at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely, it was not. So we started like. Hamza is a bit older than me, so I was I finished like the military. So in Austria you have to do the mandatory military 6 months.
Right.
So I just finished that after my A levels, and I was like, okay, like, because everybody in our family went to university, graduated, whatever, because my mother is really caring about education, which is good, right? And university is also for free in Vienna. So, and I was like, okay, which path am I going? And I always knew, okay, like I don't want to be doing something normal. As like it sounds a bit like weird maybe, but
no, I get it.
And Hamza also had the same mindset, especially because he was 1 year in America, like in high school. That really changed his mindset, and that went on to me. And the question that you asked about the job, so the job that I had, I was working in a laboratory,
right?
And then also COVID hit, so. Man, that job was literally a nightmare. Like in the beginning, was a pretty chill job, to be honest, pretty easy because I was just on the computer, typing in data from customers and patients and whatever, But then, like when COVID started to kick in, like I had to work overtime, and you were not forced, but you were forced. Like many people, like I don't know, especially like in the medical industry, they know that. You pretty much had to make the overtime, otherwise you were like pretty much threatened to be like fired or whatever, even though of course it's not allowed, but still. Anyways, like I was working like some weeks, like I was working like 70 hours a week, and I was still trying to do trading on the side. And it's funny because I even back then I changed my strategy and adjusted that I was like only looking for like limit entries. So in the morning I was looking, okay, these are my levels, and I would put my limit entries there and put my stop loss, take profits, everything, because it was not working. Like I was trying to like look at NY session during my lunch break, and it was just a mess, man. Like, am I trying to eat and take a break, or am I trying to catch a trade, whatever? And even if I think about it now, like didn't make sense at all. Like I was trading a small account, the money was not worth it, like because there in my job I'm making maybe like 150 euros a day or whatever, and I'm losing that in the market stand. And I'm like, man, how stupid can that be? So like the question that you asked, like what would you change? I would definitely change that. First of all, maybe still trade a personal account to just get that feeling, but a really small one.
Right,
For example, I have a friend, he wants to trade right now, and I'm really like controlling him, bro, you're not spending more than 50 bucks or something, like no more than that, because you will lose anyways. So why just not minimize that? Because we lost a lot of money back then, and it was unnecessary. If you would have the right guidance, that would not happen. So my advice for that would be, first, have a job or any kind of thing. You can be freelancing. I mean, at this point nowadays, like there are so many opportunities. If you know English and like have a little bit of skills, you know, like people are from India or Pakistan, they are doing editing and they're making good money, you know, like we are paying the editors good money. So like I know that it's possible, like freelancing and whatever, like it's definitely
that pains you, doesn't it?
No, but I'm just giving an example because that's actually something that I told my little brother as well.
Yeah.
You know, like he's doing his boxing thing and everything. It's good, but he has to make money, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm, there are a bunch of opportunities now, like in this century, you know. So just have something where you're not risking money. So like a skill set, like some kind of skill set. It can be, I don't know, copywriting, freelancing, something like that, or a normal job. And then do a focus on trading and slowly scale up. We have a video on YouTube, even like a perfect blueprint where you can start like from it's really slow actually, but if you don't have the capital, you can go that route with starting from a 5k account or 10k account and really slowly start to scale up, because that's actually what I did. Like after that shutdown, I had a really down moment because I lost the funding, and after that break I was like, okay, let me start with a smaller account. I started with a 50k challenge and I passed that much easier because I was doing the 100k challenges, so it was way easier. And then slowly I started to scale up. Took my money from there. It's everything on YouTube, documented with like all the proof and certificates and everything. And then I bought like 200k accounts with the profits that I made. And yeah, fortunately I passed both of them at the first try and slowly, you know, like scaled back up, you know. But I didn't like, I mean, Hamza knows me, I'm not a greedy person. So like I took it really slow, but I had a good plan. I planned it well and scale up like that. And that's what I would recommend to everyone. Like just be patient. I know it's unattractive and it's like boring to say, but slow and steady wins the race. It's a fact. And
I agree.
If you're trying to become a millionaire tomorrow, most likely you will end up broke. And it's
consistency and slow. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just one more question for you. So you boys, look, you do a lot of traveling, right? And obviously you're trading on a daily basis. How do you find that? Traveling around so much and trading. How are you?
So just to give a realistic answer, it's pretty tough, not gonna lie. Like I could be here like and saying like, oh man, it's like pretty easy. You just put a trade and not look at it and add a stop loss or TP, but it's not the way we trade. Like I don't ever like try to like because we manage our trades. Like I personally, when I enter a position, I look at it like check maybe every 15 minutes, 5-minute candle closures and like manage my position accordingly, put like stop loss and break even, or even trail my stop to less drawdown, or even in profits, whatever it might be. But there is actually a YouTube video out there as well, like a trade breakdown, and it's the full truth. Like I had a post on Twitter as well about that. I was literally in the Uber on my way to the airport, Sevilla airport. It was a holiday, it was in June. And my alerts triggered, you know, like on trading. I'm having the alert and I'm like, I did the analysis, everything before. And of course it's happening when I'm in the Uber, you know, like a little bit stressful and whatever. And I'm literally like getting into the car and I'm like, man, okay, like I have to wait for this 5 minutes to close and then I have to execute. This is my setup. And then it candle closed. I executed. And like position went, I think like not even 10 minutes, and I made like almost 3k, and literally closed it, and I then paid the Uber, and I, like that whole like thing is like it's mind blowing because stressful. Like you're like because if I would have maybe like not taken Uber or tried to like because people try to save a lot of money, right? Like maybe take a public transport or whatever. But no way I can enter that position like if I'm in a like about to enter the train or whatever, like you know, all of those kind of things. So and while I maybe spent like maybe 20 euros or 30 euros, I don't know what it was, but for the ride I made like 100x, you know, on that trade. But to get back to the question, it's pretty tough. Like traveling and trading is tough unless you're swing trading, of course, then it's different. But if you are like intraday trading or day trading like us, it's not easy. Like I would rather focus on having limit entries, like, or entering like bigger trades, like maybe like 1 hour setup,
Yeah.
you know, like, or 4 hour setup even, you know, like more like big moves.
Yeah.
And with bigger targets, you know. For example, yesterday we flew out yesterday, and there was a picture perfect setup on gold. Like, I even had a Twitter post.
Right.
Many people messaged me.
Yeah.
They took the buy because I said in the video, Hamza is filming, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm waiting for a pullback on gold buy. And I don't know if you guys checked, but it went like 400 pips from there.
Nice.
And I knew like it was a really good setup because of the 4 hour closure and whatever, but it didn't give the pullback. And then we jumped in the plane and everything. I couldn't execute that trade.
No.
Of course, it would be perfect if I just execute and just leave it, whatever, you know. But it's not that easy. So
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Exactly. I didn't execute that trade, for example, but would have been amazing, of course. Like, you know, that typical like Instagram or whatever, like people like trading, like taking a trade and then getting off the plane and 20 pips, you know, like. But
what's actually like I think more interesting in this topic is that what kind of freedoms trading can give you. Like
absolutely.
Geographical freedom, time freedom, like much, and that's like the real beauty, you know.
That's the positives to come from it. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I agree with you.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have a really strong psychology, I would not recommend to trade on vacations.
No, not at all.
You know,
like on that vacation,
because if you take a loss, your whole vacation is like
you'll be divorced.
Absolutely. And then you're talking with your wife, and then she's asking, why are you like this, you know, like so your mood is gone. For example, on that vacation I took 2 trades, 1 break even and that 1 win, you know, like just 2 trades, and I would not force it too much while traveling. Like just as Luke said, like if then you're taking losses, one might not hurt, but then a second one you're like, man, I just should have taken a week off or something, and then
just
the
stop, come out, have a break.
Exactly.
It's nice to listen. You need to have a break every now and again. Take your money, and you come. It's like with anything, whatever you're doing, right? You take a break from it, you come back stronger, more refreshed.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. You know, the trading does give you the ability to look. You can trade anywhere, right? And it gives you the freedom. But like you said, I think sometimes you need to take it, you know, just to stop, have the break, and just go back to your setup and your, you know, being consistent.
Yeah.
But no, nice. So, I mean, look, obviously you've been with us a while now, okay? How have you found your experience with AscendX? How are you getting on with us as within the prop space?
So, I think it's been almost 3 months now since I bought my first challenge ever. So it's actually a funny story because first, it was a bit of challenging because I literally bought the account while the migration was happening. But it was a good comparison actually as well, because first we had a different firm that had the first ever migration.
Right, okay.
It was the first firm that had the MetaTrader license taken off, and I was just funded with them, and they handled the migration really not well. So it was a good comparison to you guys to see, okay, you handled it much better, because like a lot of people had issues, right? Because it's normal, it's a migration, whatever.
Yeah.
But you guys were not like, oh no, everything is fine, you know, like just just do your thing and whatever. But you guys compensated, so that's a big difference. And I also got compensated. For example, I had an account and there was this account breach issue, and you guys just gave me literally a new account because it took like 1 week longer than everybody else. And then to the funding stage, I do have to say, like, honestly, if it wouldn't be like that, I would say it. And I know everybody says this, but it's the truth. Everybody who knows me knows that I don't lie. And the trading conditions, I have to say, is really good, like top notch. Not only on the challenge phase, because a lot of prop firms on the challenge phase, you're like, man, like no slippage. It's amazing, right?
But then when you get to funded,
exactly, when you get to funded, it's different. And on the funded, it makes a big difference.
Of course,
you know? Let's say you put in a 3 lot or 4 lot and you're getting slipped 4 pips, like it's like 0.2% almost slippage, right? On a 100k account, it's a lot. So on the funded, I didn't have any slippage, and I have even a screen recording where I took the same trade, copy trader. I took the same trade on another firm, and funny enough, I got slipped 4 pips. of course it's gold,
Yeah.
but Hamza knows it because I showed it to him. Literally slipped 4 pips, so my entry was 4 pips higher, was a gold buy. But on AscendX, it was a normal execution.
Nice.
So, yeah, regarding that, for me, honestly, like the 2 most important things when I'm trading with a prop firm is that because I'm trading gold moves fast, and the trading conditions for me is like really important. Like the execution has to be on point, and slippage as well on stop losses and take profits, you know, because especially the way I trade is when I have my stop loss, when price breaks that, it's really like invalid. So the idea completely invalid. The trend might even change, so it may slip me a lot because of momentum, you know. Like it can just have a pop up or pop down, you know, and I didn't have any slippage or whatever. So that's perfect. And yeah, for me, the experience was good. Anytime I had issues, it was technical issues. I also addressed that on Twitter. Only technical issues, and each time I got compensated, so I have nothing to complain.
That. I mean, look, we've had our issues, and I think, like you said, it's about how we deal with them, right?
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of the issues that we faced have always been from third-party issues. I mean, Alex says it all the time, and it's quite frustrating because, you know, as a company, what the service we try to provide is, we like to think has been good, right? We've had our issues regarding support because we got overwhelmed, right? We had a certain amount of staff, and obviously when you are facing technical issues, you get a high influx of support issues and everything else. And you know, when we were at that stage, it's almost like we need to click our fingers and double the amount of support staff we have, right? It's impossible. But we've done our best, and you know, luckily for us, we've got great staff and people working around the clock, and you know, it's trying to get back to everyone as quick as possible. And like I said, we've finally got back to a good place right now, just off the back of this week, where you know we've doubled the amount of support staff we've got tickets right down. We've, you know, payouts are back. I think we spoke about this earlier, you know, to 48 hours, which is great, and that's something we want to stick at.
And it's actually true, by the way. Just sorry to cut you off, but the first payout took a little longer. I think 3 to 4 days. But also with a really big firm, they promised like 3 days, and first time I waited 4 days with them, which is fine. To be honest, I don't care much about waiting as long as I get paid. So that's the, like, if I'm getting a short, I get paid. I can also wait 5 days. I don't care much about that. But the second payout now that I had with AscendX Capital is like I think not even 2 days, like 2 days maximum.
Nice.
Because I got it yesterday or today, so 2 days basically. So you guys are doing a well job with that now.
No, it's good to hear. Well, look, boys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today, and thanks for travelling so far. It's been a pleasure to have you with us, and I wish you all the success, you know, with trading, not just with us, but you know, throughout your trading journey.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Thank you.